Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Crazy thing for week 9 of the Red Dirt Sports Fantasy Football Weekly Awards and kind of just general hangout. I think we're going to be moving forward to just general hangout for the Fantasy Football Award. So if people want advice, like we'll have our awards and everything as a part of it, but also too like just having it where other people come in, like ask their fantasy question, as well as like kind of share their experience and stuff. Let me post in our fantasy group really fast uh for tonight's link for tonight. There we go. It better be the right one, otherwise I'll be weirded out by it. That all being said, I will we'll be talking a lot of there's a lot of NFL to cover here in the next hour with it, but also too I'm looking forward to seeing Justin on again. He should be coming on here very, very shortly with it. Things getting heated up, and cause we're entering championship November at this point, and we'll have to see at this point what uh November has in store for the Sooners at this point. And gosh, NFL, I think there's 3 topics to talk about with Justin prior to the award show at this point. So, that all being said, let's jump right into the pick'ems, the update everybody where we're at with the pick'em standings, as well as like what we're looking forward to in the next week at this point. So, let me go to my wonderful super duper share screen, and we can kind of recap all the fun stuff as we usually do. All right. Go to this. I think it is this one. Aha, it is. Perfect. Okay. So scrolling down, as you can see, we are on week 11 right now of college football. Okay. In our standings, we have Gavin. He is still leading by 1 point this week, just 1 point. We got me right behind him with 1 point, right behind. We've got Andrew. He fell, I think, by one extra point at that point. So he is 3 behind Gavin on that. Well, what a coinky dink. What I will do is do that. So welcome, Justin. How are you this
What the
wonderful
hell
week?
was that sound?
What?
You made like a squeak groan noise when I popped in.
That's generic for me. I'm so sorry that you have to endure it. I'm getting my Pokemon cries ready for a Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl next week.
That's funny because actually on my way home from work, I stopped by GameSpot, State GameStop, and pre-ordered Brilliant Diamond.
That is a wonderful choice. That is a wise choice. I have both pre-ordered, but that's because like I don't have anybody else around me, so I like to play both, and I'll have my small collection with it.
Yeah,
I will tell you, Justin. Off topic, I will be disappointed in some stuff. I think there's some stuff that has been leaked on it, and that we're not going to be getting the platinum features. And platinum's one of my top 3, with all
yeah,
the features that it had. That being said, they also said too, though, while platinum is not going to be a part of it, or like the extra stuff like the distortion world and stuff, the
yeah,
flip side of that though is we're getting like the hardest trainers that we've had in this series. Like a lot of them are supposed to be like supposedly EV trained and all that. I'm like, ooh, I like challenges.
yeah. Guess
So
we'll
we'll
see.
see. I mean, it wouldn't be a surprise to me because Cynthia had perfect IV Pokemon when you faced her, as well as had EV trained in the Elite Four. So it's like, just prepare for it. Bring a Mamoswine in and you'll be fine. So I love Platinum. Platinum, I actually maxed out the time on it. On my clock, it was like 9999999. And
Yeah, let's just
uh,
say that once I bought Platinum, I started playing it, and I never looked back.
I loved Platinum. Platinum was a great game. I need to do more of the post game. That's my next year's like gaming goal at this point, Justin, is to basically start from Bulbasaur, get it on each version, move on to the next version, and just have a living dex as well as like both on the cloud and then also like on the games itself at that point. So we'll see where I get at that point. I mean, there's almost 1,000 plus, but there's also more coming from Pokemon Legends Arceus as well. So did you see the new trailer and stuff as well that came out?
I believe so. Yeah,
The one with the legends?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You got Brilliant Diamond. I was always a Palkia person, so I'll have Shining Pearl. So that I will probably start with. But my main one was Platinum. So anyway, let's dive right into some football, Justin. Justin, how was college football for you this week?
Well, get into the picks, and I'll be able to let you know. I'll be able to talk about what games I noticed.
I'll tell you right now, the call, and keep in mind, okay, if you never knew, I worked for the OU athletic department in my undergrad years. Everybody knows the final rank is the only thing that matters at this point. For OU, you win out, you're going to be in the playoff, and you hope you get number 2 or number 3, so you're just playing down the street in Dallas for it. It's not a trip that you have to worry about. That being said, committee's on crack. Whoever's writing this storyline, they are insane. Like putting Michigan State below Michigan, or having the Bearcats at number 5 when they should be like at number 6, or Alabama still being at number 2, or playing the bullshit card of Ohio State persevered against Nebraska, but OU struggled. Okay, OU had control in that entire game against Nebraska, but Ohio State almost lost to a pick 6 that never was. Like, come on, committee. Like, at least make it believable for us. So now, that all being said, I was going over the picks, Justin. This is the current standings. Gavin is still in the lead with 1 point. I'm right behind him with 1 point behind him. I think at this point, all the stuff that's going to be dropped, it's dropped. Like, so picks are going to be important. Andrew is right behind in 3. Patrick took a huge nosedive over the weekend because he was in first place with Gavin, and then he is now like several points behind. I think he missed some picks for it, and it's finally just came back and bit him in the butt with it. Frank is also 7 points behind Gavin as well. Sarah's 8 points behind. Brittany is 9, and then it just goes down from there. So, in my opinion, based on the standings, it's week 11. We have 4 more weeks, which is week 11, week 12, week 13, and championship week. Okay. I would say it's safe to say Kari, Chad, Kayla, Brittany, Sarah, and I would go as far now to say Frank and Patrick are eliminated from the pick'ems. I know there's 4 weeks, but based on how the points are and how everybody's picked, unless there has been a huge shift at this point, I think it's going to be between Gavin, me, and Andrew for the first pick'em league champion at this point. Like I said, Patrick, he may get a chance with it if he can figure out a way to sneak back in with a couple points, and Gavin misses a whole lot. I just don't. The idea I keep thinking of it is I don't see Gavin, myself, or Andrew missing altogether at that point. I just don't. That's why I think it's easy to say like they're just so far behind at this point. There's just no way to catch up. And the leaders in 4. Let's go into the group picks for it. So last week's games, we're gonna go week. The good part is, Justin. Oh, you had the bye week. We didn't have to worry about any drama. Do you know how nice it was to sleep in on a Saturday?
I can only imagine.
Oh, it was so nice after so many games. But let's take a look at the game. So everybody missed the Wake Forest versus North Carolina. You know, it's funny. I knew it was going to be a tough one, but I gave Wake Forest the benefit of the doubt because their starting lineups were much better. Nope. I should have went with North Carolina. I should have, would have, could have, should have, but I didn't. So unfortunately, everybody missed that. Everybody got the Kansas State one. Everybody got OSU except Chad. He picked Nebraska on it, which, to be fair, he almost upstaged everybody with it. Everybody got Georgia. Everybody got Mississippi. Patrick was the only one that went with Memphis. And Justin, I'm blaming you for that one because you said Memphis sucks this year. I was like, I'll go with SMU.
Well, they do.
They won.
They won to that. Yeah, they won this week.
Yeah, they won against SMU, and I'm very disappointed on it. I'm just like, dang inconsistencies. And then we had Penn State versus Maryland. Everybody picked Penn State. Oklahoma State versus West Virginia. Sarah picked West Virginia. That's a good pick, but West Virginia can't score. They have absolutely no offense. So Oklahoma State was the given one. Everybody missed on the Purdue versus I think it's who is MSU? I don't know who they played last week, but everybody missed it. We thought Purdue, after spoiling the second team again. It was no, it wasn't Michigan State. Oh, who did Purdue play last week? This is why we can't have the nice things.
Did Purdue win last week?
No, they lost.
Oh, they lost. Oh yeah, they lost to Wisconsin.
They lost to who?
Wait.
No, they didn't play Wisconsin.
That was a week before that. The past week.
No, they lost to what was today, the 10th. They lost to Michigan. They beat Michigan State. Huh? Am I off a week?
I might be. Hang on. I know they
No,
lost.
that's what it was. That's what it was. Okay, they beat Michigan State. They won on it. Michigan State was last weekend.
Yeah, they beat Michigan State, but lost at home to Wisconsin the week before that. Then the week before
yeah.
The week before that, they beat Iowa.
Yeah. I'm good. We're good. Everybody thought Purdue was not going to have the hangover, and they did, and they lost. Or Michigan State was not going to have the hangover against Michigan, and they lost. It means right now, don't be the number 2 team facing Purdue. Purdue is happy that they're ranked number 19, but man, poor Purdue, Michigan State with it. They're, in my opinion, they're out at this point from the playoff because it's going to be either Ohio State or Michigan at this point. Texas A&M beat up on Auburn. I picked Texas A&M just because of their defense, and it does look like their defense is pretty good this year. Everybody threw up on the Baylor pick, though. I thought Baylor was going to beat TCU with Gary Patterson leaving, but the moment Baylor put in, surprise, a mobile quarterback named Chandler Morris, when TCU should have put in Chandler at the beginning of the season, TCU whipped up on him and just exposed Baylor, which is great for OU. We're playing Baylor this weekend, and it shows they cannot stop a mobile quarterback. That is, they gave us the kryptonite to Baylor, so that works out for us. But sucks for the picks. Then everybody picked BYU against Idaho State. Idaho State's a terrible, terrible football team. And then this is where
who is
Idaho State.
Idaho State. Okay.
Yeah, like you haven't heard of them. That's why. Everybody picked Cincinnati to beat Tulsa, though Tulsa almost lost. They almost lost. Notre Dame beat Navy. Colorado, CCU. That's a normal FBS one, but I can't think of who it is. But everybody picked it over other Georgia Southern because Georgia Southern's just not good this year. Iowa beat Northwestern because Northwestern's terrible. Everybody picked Kentucky, and we should have went Tennessee. I thought Kentucky was a more solid team against Tennessee. I was wrong. Tennessee with Heupel, he has so many inconsistencies. That's the problem. He'll win the games that you think he's going to lose, and then he'll get obliterated by those games he's supposed to win, or at least keep close. Alabama beat LSU. I went against my better judgment, Justin, and I should have picked it, and I would have been tied this week. Boise State versus Fresno. I was one click away from Boise State, but I went with Fresno because of that NFL quality wide receiver they have. Damn it, I was wrong. Oh, well. Iowa State versus Texas. Texas has got some problems. They have locker room problems. Iowa State whipped up on them. Michigan, Oregon, Houston. And then Patrick slipped up on the UTEP one. You got to go with Meeps. Got to go with the Roadrunners on that one. But that's kind of the overview. Patrick still won this week, even with his one pick he did. Looks like he didn't even do with UTEP. So that all being said, did anything stand out to you for those type of picks for this week, Justin, as we move on to week 11?
No, not those kind of picks. There are a couple of things from last week that drew my attention. But it's not regarding the picks. Just some games overall.
Yeah, which ones?
Okay, let me pull the schedule back up just so I give myself a refresher here.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Huh.
Okay, yeah, we talked about you talked about Tennessee.
Yep. Did that one surprise you?
No, not really.
Really?
Yes. Not well, maybe a little bit. I kind of expected Kentucky's defense to be a little bit better than it was. Okay, here we go. I'll just talk about two things.
Yeah.
Number one is Cincinnati barely getting past Tulsa.
They absolutely got past.
I watched like the final minutes of that game and how they had to do 2 goal line stops after Ritter turned the ball over the 1 yard line. Like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, you literally just had like to kneel a couple of times and the game is over. I believe. I don't remember, but
Justin, in my Sunday live streams with Gavin and Sean said he does not expect Cincinnati to lose to Tulsa. Tulsa's going to give them a run for their money, and he said that's going to expose them, keep them out of the top 4, and that shows that Cincinnati's going to lose to SMU or Houston. Who it's going to be, that's the question. But Cincinnati is their stock has fallen fast, and you saw it with that Tulsa. They're not going to make it undefeated till the end of the season.
Yeah, and number 2 and Number 2 is considering how their teams have been in the past, but I'm sorry, I'm just not really buying this Bama team.
Nobody is. I think they're going to lose in Auburn.
I think Georgia's going to be the crap out of them. I'm just not impressed with this. I'm just not impressed with them this year.
I'm not either. It's their defense is atrocious, and even if they win at Auburn, they're not going to beat Georgia this year. Georgia will win. So you can pretty much Bama is literally there just for talking, so people get outraged at the committee unintentionally at this point. So it is what it is. But yeah. So any other college football highlights?
I just want to point out one more thing that I felt like if LSU actually had a quarterback, they would have won that game.
Oh, I believe you. Oh, I believe you, Justin. I absolutely believe you. If LSU had a quarterback, I think they could have beaten Bama, which is why it's ridiculous that Bama is at number 2. Still, because they struggle. So, taking a look at picks going into this week, we got about 22 games this week, and there's some sneaky good ones. Cincinnati versus South Florida. South Florida has a chance to beat Cincinnati, Justin. Cincinnati is not protected at all. They're favored by 23.5. South Florida, despite their record, they're gonna give them a game, whether people think so or not. It's at South Florida. I think Cincinnati's gonna get a little bit of another scare. Kansas State versus West Virginia is going to be good because that's going to test Kansas State's offense with Skyler and everybody back. I expect Kansas State to win that game, but we're going to see if that turns into a quality win for OU. Michigan versus Penn State. That's another good one because I don't have faith that Harbaugh is going to beat Penn State. I think Penn State's going to win, Justin. I can't expect Harbaugh to win the big games. He has never proven it. And it's at Penn State. I just don't see it. Another good one, Auburn versus Mississippi State. That's I think that's Lane Kiffin or Mike Leach. That's going to be a good one. That'll either knock Auburn out of the top 25 if they lose or put them in a good one. Though go ahead.
Oh, we got a doozy here.
Number 4, Oklahoma.
Yes, we got a doozy here. Yeah.
I'm going playoff. Number 8, Oklahoma versus number 13, Baylor. I'm going Sooners, dude. We got mobile quarterback.
Baylor, of course, you're a Sooner, man. Of course, you're going to go with the Sooners.
Oh, well, yes. But in realistic, I think they're going to win comfortably. I don't think they're going to blow Baylor out of the water. But Baylor's about to get lit up. I'm not worried about Baylor at this point. I think they're the most balanced team that we have that we're going to face because we're going to face a lot of offense. Brock Purdy next week with Iowa State at home. And then we faced Oklahoma State with a defense. Purdy. Yeah. There was a running joke where it was like, OU's going to be fine against Purdy because Brocktober already passed. So that being said, that's going to be a good one. 11 a.m. rooster kick, which everybody, even Lincoln Riley, is bitching about because this is now number 5. And we have another 11 a.m. kick next week. We have the most out of all the Big 12 teams. And we're like, you see, the evidence, guys, is on the field. We're going to have 7 11 a.m. kicks this season. That is ridiculous for a national championship contender. That is absolutely ass. Why do you think we're moving to the SEC? Because the SEC doesn't treat their brands like that. So that's going to be a good game. Then we got Iowa versus Minnesota. I don't know on that one. It's going to be a good game, though. We got some good ones. Here's one for you. I'm going to pick Ohio State, and it's only because they're not number 2.
That's a sneaky. As we've seen from Purdue before, with being the Giant Slayers, Ohio State may be at the top of their game.
Yeah, you also want another good game right under it, Georgia versus Tennessee, because Tennessee's the best offense Georgia has faced all year. Can they do it, Justin? Can Tennessee upset Georgia?
I don't think so, but I think their offense will keep them in it for probably about maybe a half. Then Georgia will probably pull away.
I hope so. Let's see. Going back down, Iowa State, Louisiana, UTSA, Michigan State, Texas A&M versus Mississippi. Lane Kiffin versus Texas A&M. I think Mississippi has a chance. That's why I haven't picked it yet. Notre Dame versus Virginia. That is my upset of the week, Justin. I'm picking Virginia. I think Notre Dame's time's up. I think it's here. Virginia's going to beat them. They have studs. I know that's a crazy one, but Notre Dame hasn't given me anything over 9-10 weeks that would say otherwise. But you want to know what so a next sneaky game? Texas versus Kansas. Now I know everyone's going to be like, "Oh, Kansas beat Texas in football." That's true, but the reason why is there is so much disharmony down in the Texas locker room right now. They've lost 4 in a row. We have players recording coaches screaming at them on the bus rides back at this point. We have their best wide receivers transferring out at the end of the year. There's rumors Bijan Robinson's going to transfer out. He may come to Oklahoma because we were recruiting him, and it came down to OU and Texas for which one he wanted. We messed up in recruiting, but we're going to need running back. Who knows? Who knows what that offseason is going to go? If OU wins the Natty for that, if you think Bijan wouldn't transfer to OU because he'd probably be a starter, yeah, that is going to be a game. I think they'll take care of business against Kansas. But yeah, now here's the sneaky good one, Justin. Oklahoma State versus TCU. That is a sneaky good one. You know why? Because TCU has Chandler Morris. He was our old quarterback who transferred out at the beginning of the season, and he lit up Baylor. I think Oklahoma State's defense is going to get its first real test against a mobile quarterback and stuff, and we're going to get a preview of what happens. It's good. That one's going to be a good game. So that all said, that's all it is for college this week. Justin, let us do what we always do and what we always look forward to. Let's go to college foot or our fantasy football week 9. And Justin, excuse my language, everybody gets one. Holy shit, what happened in the NFL last week? We've got Aaron Rodgers eating the horsey pills. We've got Vikings running back, I think it is, Dalvin Cook. And
yes.
Good stuff. We've also got something else. Like there was like 3 big, huge headlines. Justin, walk me through the NFL from the past week. Just what's going on in the NFL? Oh, and the Bears and the referee interfering, and it looked intentional. Like even I'm going, bro. I'm usually not the one to pile on the refs because I get it. It's their job, but dude, you look like you intentionally ran into him. Like, yikes. To walk me through the NFL last week, though, Justin, like how insane was it?
Well, you kind of covered a lot of it for me, but well, the Aaron Rodgers stuff speaks for itself. That's something you could talk about for like 5 to 10 minutes. But
well, it does explain, Justin, why he's been doing the snap counts with his foot. That was a funny joke, and you know it. I hear you chuckling on the other side. You know that was a funny joke. Worse joke. It was funny. Someone told me, they said, regardless of what their feelings are on Aaron Rodgers, they said it is kind of ironic that he's taking the horsey pills, but also that he always thought Aaron Rodgers had a long face. I'm like, that's fantastic. That's going to be an underrated joke. So, anyway, we got Aaron Rodgers being absolutely insane at this point. And I believe he was fined $12,000, but the team was fined like $300,000, wasn't it? Like it was a ridiculous amount, right?
Right.
All right, now talk me through Cook. What's been going on with Cook? Because I heard that as I was leaving work today. What's going on with Cook?
Going on with what now?
With Dalvin Cook and his girlfriend.
Well, I don't know anything about that. I think that's something that just got released. Oh yeah. I think I remember just seeing on my phone a notification as domestic assault going on between him and his girlfriend. I don't know the full details. I haven't read any of the articles yet, but apparently he's the one being domestically abused.
And then she's claiming she's the one being domestically abused, and she has pictures like, ooh, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. And then we got, walk me through though Monday Night Football, Justin, with the Bears and the Steelers with the ref.
Do I have to?
You have to.
I actually didn't really see the whole. I didn't really know about the part about where the referee bumped into the guy called for the taunting purpose that threw the flag. Because thing is, I think they basically. Honestly, it could have been worse. He could have been thrown out of the game. Because usually, if you make contact with the official, that's automatically ejection. But the fact that I could Okay, I understand what the NFL is trying to do with this whole taunting thing. They're trying to preserve sportsmanship and all that and make everybody play more class. But like, you didn't really put a draw line to saying exactly what is or isn't taunting. I mean, how is it that all he really did was stare at the Steelers sideline and he didn't say a word, and somehow that's a taunting penalty. Now, if you want to call it a taunting penalty when he got up and spin kick, fine, whatever. But
yeah,
when you're just staring at it reminds me of a cut like back when Rasheed Wallace was with the Blazers, he got thrown out for staring at a ref. That's what it reminded me of.
It's weird. Like, it's their issue this year has been taunting, but like, you got to be consistent. Like, you can't have it both ways. Of like, players are going to celebrate, and it's the NFL. Like, I get it. If you go like, do you remember the old piss game where the college football player from Ole Miss went and peed on the acted like a dog and peed on the goal line? Sure, call that. That is
like that's the fine line you have to make absolutely clear, because yes, that what you just mentioned, that was absolutely warranted a flag.
Absolutely, but this stuff has been so ticky-tack. Like, they're not letting them have the fun, and that's the point of the NFL, is because taunts. If not, take it completely out then at this point. I understand reeling it in, but there's no consistency at all.
I mean, it's not even really inconsistency with the roughing the passer calls either, because like, yeah, it's been getting ridiculous, but there was one play last on the other night where Justin Fields got crushed and nothing was called. Crushed way after he threw the ball and nothing was called.
It seems like both college and NFL, Justin, have been having problems. NFL's with their taunting, and then I was trying to remember what the other one, and I'll probably remember it by the end of our live stream, where it was with the college football. Theirs is like it's be turning into two judgmental calls at this point. And it's like they're getting it completely wrong on it. And I forgot what it was. There was a call over the weekend that was similar, and it's like, bro, that was a bad one, and I can't think of it though. I'll remember it by the end. But man, the NFL, the refs are making themselves look bad. Like, I almost feel like at the point, like, guys, y'all need to go back and get some training, because these are bad calls. Man, I'm that's gonna drive me nuts on the college football one, of what the focus of the college football refs were this year. I'm not gonna remember it. Oh well, but yeah, that was bad.
What are you trying to think about?
Oh, where it was like NFL's rules this year that they've been focused on was taunting, and it's gotten to the point where it's ridiculous. Like, it's not consistent at all. And
did they take away a touchdown for Iowa State when they played Oklahoma State?
Yeah, they did. It's the
because
same
thing. Because the did premature celebration as he's walking to the end zone all by himself.
Yeah,
they took a touchdown off the board.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. That's not the thing I'm thinking of. It was more of like, if you're gonna, it was something along the lines of, if you're gonna call it, you got to be consistent about it, but you can't have it both ways. On calling it and then like not call it at all. I'm just trying to remember it.
I mean, if you're gonna make that call, if you're gonna make that, going back to what I just mentioned, if you're gonna make that call, fine, but access that penalty on the kickoff. Don't take the points off the board.
Absolutely, and that goes into yeah. So I'm gonna upload. Justin, let me bring up our fantasy stuff from this week. There we go. So for fantasy football, Justin, we got our standings. We're in like week. Justin, we've been doing this for almost 10 weeks now. I know, that's kind of weird, isn't it? That we're almost already to playoffs, but we had some exciting stuff. I think we finally had the true separation of where everybody is at this point. So this week I beat up on Kayla 107.38 to 83.28. Technically, I was a coach of the week because I completely missed it, because I was supposed to lose by 0.03, and I just whipped up on Kayla. And what it just came down to is, if you took a look at her players and stuff, Ezekiel didn't do as good because Denver decided they didn't want to show up and play the game, or the Cowboys decided they just didn't want to play this week. Carter was under his points as well. And then what happened with Myers with New England? They won, but like, he was only targeted 4 times. What happened?
I didn't see that game, but it looked like the Patriots were more successful on offense on the ground.
Yeah. That had to be it. It was bad though. She lost on very potential points for that.
Because
Burrow did.
of that, I just picked up Bolden, especially since there might be a chance that Chubb might be out this week because he has COVID.
Yeah, that was it. Chubb is out because of COVID, bro. I was
Yeah,
talking about that with my coworker. Like,
yeah,
I think
he hasn't
saved
been ruled
me.
out yet, but it's not likely. He'll play.
Right. He's not done yet, but like Justin, I think you saved my season by you getting him in the initial drafts. Like Chubb has been like had the ideal setup from schedule to everything, and he's just been kind of a bust this year. Not in the sense of points, but like everything that's happened from like getting injured, COVID, like bro can't catch a break at all. And those are all during those high point weeks. But looking at the rest for Kayla, Burrow had no time at all. Burrow just got no points really because it's amazing when Odell left how amazing Baker is with Cleveland. Cleveland just lit them up from that. And then if you look at that, she just left some points on the bench and stuff. But it was just for me. Carson Wentz took care of business against the Jets. Robert Woods did really well. Tony was the only one. I think he went out with like an injury. I think no. It was just he just was not targeted at all. I thought he went out with an injury. Mixon did really well against a very very stout Cleveland defense though, which was very 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 surprising for that. But he had all the touchdowns that game. Kamara did really well. Very low end week for me with my tight ends. And then if you took a look from that, everything, I made the right decision of picking Arizona over San Francisco for my defense. So moving on to the next one was poor Andrew. He's lost Derrick Henry this week for the rest of the season, which was his big stud point maker. And then he lost Ruggs because Ruggs decided to be an idiot and, he's in jail now at this point. So, but he barely lost. He lost just barely, 85.48 to 88.46. When you take a look at it, he had the player of the week, Justin, with the New England defense. He could have won, but Hooper underperformed against the team. Hooper underperformed. McNichols underperformed because I believe McNichols got less carries over Adrian Peterson at that point. Eckler underperformed. Like there was just so much. What happened? Oh yeah, and Beasley underperformed, which is really weird against Jacksonville. I know Buffalo's bad, but against Jacksonville,
Buffalo, I'm here is having O-line issues.
Yeah. And then if you take a look at Patrick, he had a lot of players underperform, but what saved him was Jonathan Taylor, having a monster game against the New York Jets. Give him the rock. Goodness, 32 points this week. Like, good for Patrick for putting him in for that. But this is Andrew's second loss of the season. He's still first, but I guess the point is, if you're going to start losing, lose now at this point, because if you're guaranteed into the playoff, just get as many players as you can off the waiver wire. But the problem is who do you go get? Moving on to you, Justin. You whipped up on Chad this week pretty badly, probably because he could not find a replacement for Kyler Murray, and
that's why I was in the one in the room to basically post that Kyle wasn't playing. I was hoping Andrew would see it so he had time to find somebody else to throw in there.
Yeah, and because he did not play Teddy Bridgewater and he did not play Connor. He could have beaten you if he put both of those players potentially in between 50 points.
Connor had a massive game. Yeah, it would be interesting if he played Connor. And to be fair, they didn't announce that Kyle was out until like an hour before game time.
Yep, and as per tradition, Justin, you start Stafford. Herbert does better.
Well, it didn't buy me this time, but it's getting really irritating because I swear every single time I played Herbert, he does not play well.
Exactly, and then Matt Stafford does really well. But hey, you are still in the fifth place, Justin. Like, we're starting to see separation. You may be getting into the playoffs this year. But yeah, taking a look at the teams and stuff, with everybody essentially underperformed. Nick Chubb did really well for you. He's what led your overall points, but COVID this week potentially may be a problem. And who do you replace on him for your bench? There's Melvin Gordon III for Denver. He's consistent.
Yeah, I'm playing him this week, so we'll see how he does.
Oh, speaking of that, on my game, by the way, with beating Kayla, I now have sole possession of the pod for mine to take the automatic bid in. Just keeping that in mind. We'll get into that other ones, but good congratulations on beating Chad this week. It's just all his guys underperformed. All of them underperformed. Gavin also beat out Josh. He was predicted to win still, but Josh just underperformed. What Josh had it, the unlucky ones with Baltimore's defense. Like I will,
-1. Yikes.
I thought Baltimore's defense was pretty good, but I mean, in the sense of football, sure, but for fantasy, they have not done well at all this year. They've kind of struggled in the fantasy leagues at this point the past couple of weeks. And then if you take a look at him, P. Ryan did not do well with it. I don't think he had a replacement for P. Ryan for it. Let's see. What happened with Edmonds? Chase Edmonds. Do you know what happened with him against San Francisco? Did he get
yeah, because they didn't give him the ball. They didn't give him the ball because Connor was cooking.
Gotcha. Then you also he just underperformed a whole lot. That's just one of those. It is what it is. But how can you stop? Lamar Jackson had like a career high game from it. Tyreek Hill. Tyreek actually surprisingly did very poorly against Green Bay. That's actually surprising on it. I know Kansas City is not good this year, but that is really surprising. Then you take a look at the rest of them. A lot of them underperformed, but Jackson having that career highlight saved him. So moving on to Frank. Frank has climbed back, but man, he had a setback week against Sarah. When he was projected to win, he laid an egg on that one. And what sucks is Sarah had someone who didn't even score points. That's the worst. But looking at Frank's stuff, though, everybody underperformed. What happened? Yeah, what happened with Antonio Brown or AJ Brown against the LA Rams? Do you have any info on that one?
No, not really. I'd say they probably. I think the D line played good defense on the offense and
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm doing this while watching the Hornets Grizzlies. But to answer your question, yeah, a lot of the times when the Titans got offense, they got short fields, and he mostly went to the tight ends and on the ground.
Yeah.
I remember because 14 of the Titans' 21 points were scored on a turnover start from 2-yard line and a pick six.
Yeah. It was just a bad week for him. No different than CeeDee Lamb when the Cowboys didn't show up, but he didn't get any points. Green Bay did terrible against Kansas City. Herbert did terrible against Pittsburgh. Like, it was just a bad week overall for several of his players, and it was just a series of unfortunate events for him. And then finally, we got Brittany. She continues her 6-game losing streak. And Tyler beat her and put himself back into 6th place with it. Brittany, as I said, she's starting the people. If you take a look at her bench, she is starting the people. It's just there's nobody to pick up at this point. You kind of hope somebody will open up, but there's nothing. So that is what it is with it. So going back to the overview, we'll move on to back for week 9. And I'm going to start with the weekly awards, Justin. I think going forward as well, I think deciding for next week, I think I want to try to open up our fantasy football to everybody and see if people hop in and just use it as a recap for the NFL and stuff. And if people want to compare notes, even in their leagues at this point. So I think I want to try that next week and leave the awards in the comments. So that way we get more discussion during it. So we may experiment a little bit next week to see what will work. So, but regardless, we still got the same format this week. So, oopsie, did the wrong one for that one. I didn't highlight the entire thing. But let's start off with the week 9 juggernaut. It should not be surprising based on what it is. The week 9 juggernaut is me this week with 107.38 points. That should not be surprising. My guys they took care of business and they were projected at 104. I won by 107. So that's weird. Congratulations to me, but congratulations to me. I did not put the stat in for me for it as well. I would be part of this stat as well because I missed it. But the week 9 coaches of the week is, it's going to be that way. So, okay. It may show up. Here we go. Coach of the week is myself, Patrick, and Sarah. We were all projected to lose our fantasies, and we ended up winning. So congratulations to Patrick. He beat Andrew by 3 points, which is really big because again, that was a number 1 versus number 2 matchup last week. But with both sides, with all Patrick's guys being injured, and then Andrew losing Derrick Henry and Ruggs, it equaled it out at that. Sarah was projected to lose to Frank, and Frank has been the hot team. But then when you have 3 teams in the NFL just not show up to their games, Sarah took advantage of that and she won. So congratulations to everybody who beat their opponent this week. Next up, the week 9 Belichick. That's the person who had the highest projected points above their projections. So I want to say congratulations, Justin. You won the Belichick Award this week. Despite not being the juggernaut, you had the highest projected points that you got above what you were expected to get. So congratulations on that. And it helped you beat Chad at this point. Next up is the Underachiever Award. Again, this goes to the person who won their game while underachieving their point score, and should not be a surprise. That is Tyler. He underachieved against Brittany. He was supposed to be like within the 90s, and he was only 68. It wasn't close as what it sounds like, but almost 25 points difference between what he was projected to get. He's lucky to walk out of that with a win. Next up, we've got the Game Changer. The Game Changer goes to the highest scoring player in victory this week, and it's not surprised that Week 9 victory goes to Riddler Voldemort with Gavin with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson just lit it up this week. Probably had a career high game, like I said. I'm not surprised that Lamar Jackson's going to be the player of the week. So congratulations for Gavin for having the MVP. The opposite side of it is the player with heart. As I mentioned during our live stream, the player with heart, ironically, was the New England defense. It could have helped out Andrew, but he was just lacking in those 3 points. It was those 3 little points. So congratulations to Andrew still for playing the player with heart. Justin, the next one up is going to be the Crash and Burn. We've been talking about how Frank has been on a hot streak. It looks like this week it finally came to an end with it because of all 3 of those teams. The Week 9 Crash and Burn is the Muffin Hunter. Sarah did not have any muffins. She had exploding pumpkins for him. So he scored the lowest points this week. Unfortunately, that's the Wop Wop Award. So congratulations, ? To Frank. The next one is the Put Me in Coach Award. This goes to the player with the high scoring bench points. I'm not surprised on this one because it seems like it's coming back to haunt him weekly. But the Week 9 Put Me in Coach Award is Chad with Connor with 35.3 bench points. It seems like that has been a recurring thing that he is not starting Connor. Chad, start Connor. If you're going to try to win the Meme Team Dream Award, you got to start Connor. Next up after that, we've got the replacements. As per tradition, is that goes to the player with the team with the highest scoring bench points. And is anyone really surprised, Justin, that is your award at this point? This season, you had 71.14 points that you left on the bench, with half of that being Justin Herbert alone. As per tradition.
Random question.
Yes, sir.
This is like a random screenshot from Friendship is Magic, but do you happen to remember that episode where Starlight was looking for a new friend and she ended up being friends with Trixie?
Yes.
You know the scene where where it's first revealed to Twilight and Twilight gives her a fake smile?
Yes.
That's pretty much how I'm feeling right now.
That's yeah. I don't blame you on that one. I bet you're also angry, Starlight, with Justin Herbert always scoring on your bench every single time. So
yeah, sure. I guess I'm getting used to it at this point.
Yeah. I did laugh when you brought that up. I told it to Andrew last night. Was the leading teams right now in the league is like Kylo Ren, who's from Star Wars, who is an evil space wizard, and number 2 is me with Lord Zed, who's an evil space wizard. It may be Space Wizards versus Space Wizards in the championship game. Regardless, Week 9 is a win. There was none of that. In Week 9, everybody took care of business. No one underscored and got outscored by the rest of the league. Everyone did roughly what was expected of this one. Justin, that being said, as despite you still having the bench points, you did get the awesome award. Is the Week 9 route goes to you. You beat Chad up with 36.78 point difference. You made him pay by him benching Connor. The next one up is going to be the Hail Mary. That is the closest game of the week. Being predicted, me and Kayla. The Hail Mary goes to Kylo Ren versus social media. Their difference between their final score was only 2.98 points. very close game. Very close game when you had your guys out with injuries as well as guys who just out with COVID and things like that. It's not surprising at this point, especially when you lose your playmakers. The week 9 participation trophy, again, that goes to the team that lost but outscored 3/4 of the team. There was none in week 9. Just like with there was no win is a win, there was no participation trophy in week 9. So we won't dwell on that one. The week 9 goose egg goes to Joshua Prime. Unfortunately, he started the Baltimore defense, and I don't think anybody saw Baltimore just throwing up on themselves despite winning this week, but they just could not do anything this week. So they couldn't stop any of those points from being scored. So the Baltimore defense actually ended up scoring a negative 1 point for Joshua Prime. The Bad Luck Chuck Award goes to the person where how many teams that they could have beaten this week. And ironically, we're not surprised on this one because he's still the top person in the league is Andrew. He would have beaten 7 other teams this week if he just did not play Patrick from it. He finally had that bad luck hit him with it, just like Frank finally encountered that unfortunate railroad at that point. The flip side of it is Andrew could have won, but Patrick averted a crisis. And I think it's only fitting, Justin. It all came together. It's the perfect one. Is the crisis averted goes to Aaron Rodgers this week. With all his drama and all the stuff from this week, it only makes sense that Aaron Rodgers is the one that has the crisis averted award because Aaron Rodgers decided to take the horsey pill. He just wanted to prove the naysayers wrong, except he looked like a dumbass. The next one is the depth chart award. Justin, along with the bench award, this one's kind of goes to you. Again, this goes to the team that their bench could have beaten their opponent if they just put their bench in. You would have beaten Chad this week with your bench as well. To me, that is a good sign that you're not having to go into the waiver wires this late in the season at this point, especially because there is nobody. There is nobody left. So congratulations, Justin. You have a very strong bench, which may take you into the playoffs. And then finally, the min-max award goes to the team that has the lowest points that they left on the bench and they put in their starting lineup. And the luck goes to Patrick. He had no bench points. Patrick won. He put in everybody he was supposed to, and if that goes with the crisis averted and goes with everything with it. So congratulations to the guys this week. Y'all did all awesome, and we look forward now, Justin, to week 10. So week 10, let's see what we got. This is considered rivalry week, but it's really not because it's just out of conference. It's not going to affect pods or anything. But I face Brittany. I should take care of business against Brittany. She's 2-7. She's on a 6-7 game losing streak with it. I think I should take care of business. Andrew faces Chad. Same thing. Andrew should take care of business against Chad. Chad is predicted at 119 points. That's probably because Kyler probably returns this week. But he should still take care of business for it. If not, it's not like he's going to be hurting. It doesn't hurt his chances. Justin, you face off against Tyler this week, and that's going to be an interesting one. That's going to be number 5 versus number 6 this week. Very, very, very close matchup within basically 2 points of each other of who's going to be predicted. And so much so, I'm actually going to bring it up and see what our stud players are. Now, the big question, I forgot, you have to take Chubb out, though. So it's going to be interesting. If Chubb plays, I think it's going to be a very close game between you and Tyler. If not, I'd almost have to go Tyler.
I think I don't know for sure, but I think Chase Claypool is out.
He's questionable. Let's take a look.
I think he's questionable.
Yeah, he's considered week to week.
Yeah, so he might be out.
He might be out, but he's not going to score those 10 points. But taking a look at the rest of them, like McCaffrey's back, we'll have to see if he scores in his stuff because McCaffrey's been out. That's why Tyler's lost all of his games with it because McCaffrey hasn't played since week 3 from it. But he's returning this week from it. So we'll have to see. That's either going to be a really good one or it's going to be a struggle bus. We've got Caleb versus Patrick. I think Patrick's going to take care of business against Caleb with it. But Caleb was a hot team earlier in the season with him. Patrick still does have injuries. So we'll have to see how that goes out. I think Frank, this is another close one. We've got Gavin versus Frank. I think if Frank takes care of business, he'll be vaulted right back into the top 6 at this point. But this is a very close game with it. We'll have to see if teams show up. And then finally, we got Joshua Prime versus Sarah. I think Sarah will take care of business. with that one. I think most of the teams are going to take care of business. I think it will come down to still you versus Tyler, depending on what players, if they're out with COVID or injury. It won't matter with really Patrick for that one. And then if Frank can beat Gavin. Now, that all being said, let's take a quick look at the pods, and then we'll go into the standings and everything like that. So right now, we do not have any, as far as I'm aware, we do not have anybody who's secured for playoffs. This is all projection stuff at this point. But the current standings right now is Sarah is leading the Every Villain is Lemons League pod at this point. As far as I'm aware, all she has to do, she still has to win out because if she goes, she has to go 5-1 to secure it. Right now, she's in sole possession of it, but Frank is right behind her at this point. So she needs to beat both of them to secure that pod at this point. Because if Frank beats, or actually, that's what it is if Sarah beats Frank, she will win the pod and get an automatic berth into the playoffs this year. If she doesn't, then it's going to come down to points. And right now, she would still lead with points. Next up, Justin, you are leading in the Hydra division pod. You and Josh, ironically, still have the record. You have to beat both teams, though. I think it is what it is at this point. Chad's out of it. He's not going to be able to get the pod. However, you got to beat both because you don't want to tie. Because you're only about 50-ish points. Or no, never mind. I keep forgetting we go record. So based on record, you're in the sole lead. You'll be good. You'll be goody. Next up, we've got the SEC. Again, that one that comes down to it. As long as Andrew beats both Brittany and Patrick one more time each, or at least Patrick one more time, it should be fine with it. But he'll beat him in record alone. But Patrick is sneaking up on him. But either way, I expect both of them to get into the playoff. I don't see any reason why either of them would be left out. One would be the automatic berth. The other one's going to be the wild card. And then for me, Kayla was winning, and now she's dropped to 4-5, and I'm winning the division. Though it's the same situation as I have to beat Kayla, so I am 4-1, and then I will be set at this point. I have to beat her one more time, and then I've won the secure. Otherwise, I think I'll have the at-large since I'm number 2 with it. We're getting into the final weeks, Justin. We're getting into the final weeks. Let me go now to the other one. Let me bring up the power rankings. Actually, I wonder current standings. Yeah, no one. I took a quick look at about playoffs to see if anybody has been secured, and no one has been secured for playoffs yet. So we're still playing around with that. But now that being said, let's bring up the share screen again. We'll go to, here we go. All right, taking a look at the rest of the season for points and everything like that for power ranking. Chad still has the most potential for points, but I'm right behind Chad with 89 points. Patrick's still behind with 85. Kayla's 79. She's not out of it. That's why I said I still have to beat her because she has the most potential points. Tyler, still has it at number 5. Frank, number 6. 7, Gavin. You're at 8. Justin, 9 is Sarah. 10, Kyler Wren really took a shot from it with losing Derrick Henry, Brittany, and then Joshua Prime at this point. That's the rest of the season, though. For week 10, the most potential points. Frank, we've got Patrick, Chad, Patrick, Frank, Kayla, me, Gavin, me, and then it goes down from there with it. So, but I'm going to go to that's the league analyzer. Here it is. I'm going to go down to our league analyzer. Here's our projected standings. Here we go. Let's go with that, and then we'll kind of wrap it up for tonight, Justin. I think we did some good. We did some good tonight. I'm just waiting for it to load at this point because it takes a minute for it to load. There we go. Okay, so right now it is saying Andrew is still going to be the number 1 seed, and he has an over 99% odds to be in the playoff. I'm not surprised, like with so many few weeks left. We only have like I think 4 weeks left of the regular season on it. Either 4 or 3 weeks left. It's not surprising. The next one is Patrick. He's winning, same thing with his division. He has a 96%, just like I have a 96% for mine as well. For it, I only went down 1 from it, but me and Patrick are like right neck and neck at this point. The best thing for me would be if Patrick can be in the division with Andrew. That would be fantastic. And based on what it looks like right now, he's in my division because he would be seeded as the number 3 seed. So I'd face him in the semifinals. Sarah, not surprising, she's doing very, very consistent. She's one of those solid mid-major teams right now. So she's number 4. Justin, you're predicted at number 5. And then Tyler is predicted at number 6. So that's kind of the standing. I think it's safe to say Brittany is out. Chad has a very small percentage, but I think him and Josh are going to be if they somehow or another sneak into their pods. I think that's what it comes down to at this point. And then the rest of them we'll just have to kind of see. We'll have to see. So any final observations from what you see for playoffs, Justin?
Nope.
Perfect. I'll share one more thing with you. So we're moving into playoffs at this point. This is what the projected would look like with the playoffs. If everything went according to plan right now, Andrew would get the bye. I would also get the bye. So you would face Sarah in the quarterfinals, and Patrick would face Tyler in the semifinal or the quarterfinals. Have you faced Sarah anytime this season? I want to see if you have. Yeah, you lost.
She beat me week 1.
Yeah, and that was several weeks ago. So I think it's a potential. I think you could beat her. I think you could, but who knows? Sarah's also that one where the consistent for it is. That being said, with the playoffs though, regardless of who it was, then she has to face Andrew, and I think Patrick could beat Tyler, and then he faces me. I'm aiming for that bye round. I would love to have a week off and just watch other people. So, but yeah, let's wrap it up, Justin. So, any things you're looking forward to in both college football and NFL going into week 10 and week 11 this week? Any highlights?
Let me see.
I know I've talked a lot with this one.
Let's see. Browns Patriots is a sneaky good game.
Which one?
Browns Patriots.
It is because Patriots has that defense. It is. I'm actually going to see too. Week 10 top games. Let's see what NFL has. You said Chiefs versus Raiders. That one appears to be a very interesting game. Tampa Bay at Washington, as well. Carolina at Arizona. That's a good one too. There is some good ones. Yeah, there is. And then as you said, why did I just forget it, Justin? I just forgot it. Oh well. Cleveland versus Patriots. So there's some interesting games this week. Just like there's going to be some. It's time to get those points, just so people don't get left in the dust. So, how does it feel right now that you're in the playoff running? Like you're actually a pretty solid in the playoff at the moment.
Keyword is at the moment.
Yeah, it's at the moment. But hey, being in the running is still in the running. You're going to be like me that it's probably going to take you down all the way to the wire on it, and you're going to know you'll know week 13 you're in it, and then what's it called? Week 13 you're in it, but you won't know where you're seated until the end of that. So, but you won't be playing for the consolation bracket. You'll be playing for all the marbles. You'll be playing for the cookie. It'll be great. So, got interesting games both in NFL and college, man. So and high school, man. High school football. They're all reaching playoffs at this point too. So there's a lot of good football. And then crazy to think like in about a month and some change, we'll be wrapping up at this point. I know, weird, huh? I'll have to get you on Sunday nights to talk about college football with Sean, Gavin, and me at this point. So any final words or anything, Justin, for this week before we wrap up?
Not a whole lot to add from me.
I don't have a whole lot either. We'll have to see what tops Aaron Rodgers taking the horsey pill. Actually, I got one for you, and then we'll wrap it up. Favorite joke from the Aaron Rodgers conundrum? Anything at all from any of the jokes you've heard about Aaron Rodgers and him basically lying about his vaccine?
I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to the joke memes on that. What about you?
Oh man, the jokes have been so funny. The funniest one, in my opinion, outside the one I mentioned, was it's like, you have the best. You're an athlete. You say your body is your temple. and you have access to the world's best medicine. Yet you went with Joe Rogan for your health advice. What? What? That's so sus. Speaking of sus, did you see the new stuff for Among Us? Do you play Among Us, Justin?
I do not.
Oh, they've added new things and it's hysterical. The funniest one though was they're adding like skins and everything in, and everyone went, wait, they're so self-aware of it, but it's so funny. They're like, wait, you're adding this in just to make money? They're like, we sure are. We live in a capitalist society and some of us have to make rent. So absolutely funny. I'll have to send it to you. But yeah, next week too. It's not this week, but we have our recap and then polls out. And we'll both that. You should do a Nuzlocke with Pokemon for this one.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's fun. I like the Nuzlocke. Do a soft Nuzlocke. That's what I do. Now, that being said, Justin, one more question for you. Who is your starter this go around Pokemon? My starter was Piplup, but I'm thinking about Turtwig because I like Continent Turtle.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry. What was the question? I'm sorry. I'm just really focused on a business game. What's the question?
Oh, it was just one last question. When Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pearl come out, who's going to be your starter going into it? Mine was Piplup, but I'm leaning Turtwig this go around just because I like continent Pokemon. The continent.
Well, I'm playing with two other people, from Twitter ponies. One's already doing Piplup, others doing Turtwig, so I guess I'll do Chimchar.
Gotcha. So you got Fire Monkey.
Yeah.
You got the Fire Monkey. Cool. That'll be fine. You'll still have a fighting type Pokemon. So, all right, buddy, I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you again, as always, for joining. It's always having a pleasure having you on. Justin, we've got week 10 recap next week. Good luck to your Grizzlies tonight. I'm not watching any of the games at the moment, so I don't know what they're doing. So good luck. I don't know if you're off work tomorrow for Veterans Day, but if you are, have a nice, relaxing day as we enter week 10. So you have a good one. Have a nice weekend. And I'll see you here, same time, same place, next Wednesday.
All right. See you, dude.
Bye, buddy. See you later.